Hey guys, it's Shane Spiel, and here's part 4 of the Reso-Electro project. In this, you're only going to see my hands because I'm going to put the guitar on my workbench and open it up and show you all the final details that I went through to build this guitar. Okay, for you cigar box guitar builders that really aren't players, if you don't play a lot, here's something you may not think of as you're building. Now I'm working on this cigar box guitar with all Gitty parts, and I've added his license plate. It's a mini license plate printed on wood as a pick guard, and his cover for the resonator. Now, one of the things that I'm looking at as I'm building this is when I play this, I'm going to be in my picking hand, and picking hand will be like this, and it'll be strumming up and down. And one of the things that happens in some cigar box guitars I've had is that these edges and these screws start to just become a cheese grater to my knuckles as I'm playing. So as I'm building this, I made sure I sanded down the edges here, the edges here. I also took this Dremel bit and I'm drilling into these holes to countersink the screws so that my knuckles aren't getting cut on those screws as well. So think about the ergonomics of your body as you're building it, because if you have someone that strums really hard the way I do, you could really mess up their fingers. So just a tip. I mean, this is what I'm doing for my own guitar, and I figured I'd show it to you guys in case you never thought of this. All right? Thanks. This is where I'm going to show you the final parts and pieces that I went with to build this, and I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse inside the guts, how I put it all together. As with this project, I did not film myself doing the final assembly. So, as you see, I did choose the Blackbird Pie's Reso Cone cover. And I had some old walnut stain left from a house project, and I used that stain on here, and then I rubbed it pretty good with steel wool to age it. Now, the reason I went with that is we have Padauk here. There's a lighter wood here for the cigar box. It's a little bit darker on the side. So all these different wood colors become almost like a quilt patchwork. Then mixing that with the CB Gitty license plate pickguard just added to the whole patchwork idea, and just kind of, I liked the look of many different wood colors. So that's why I went with this walnut stain that I had. As I showed in previous parts of the blog, the neck goes the whole way through. I put an additional piece of red oak right here to strengthen the neck. The Juke Shack pickup is glued in. I had notched the neck right here and put the Juke Shack pickup in. I did not remove the tab that comes with the pickup. I just let it go. It's not hurting to just be where it's at. And so I used this E6000 glue that I got at Hobby Lobby, and that stuff glues anything. And that pickup is glued in right there. Okay, let's close the... Oh, and it's just hardwired to the jack. There's no volume knob on this. I didn't want to worry about electronics. In concert, I usually just go up to the amp anyway and change the settings on the amp or on my pedal board. Let's go over to the headstock. And one thing I did not cover in the previous blogs is what I used for a nut. And for this particular guitar, instead of making my own nut, whether with a CB Gitty wood or bone blank material, I had an old plastic nut from another guitar. And I simply cut it down to size. I liked where the string spacing was. And so I just went with a conventional guitar nut. And I had to sand it down. Let me see if I turn it like this. I had to sand it down a little at the bottom to get it to the exact string height that I wanted. And a couple of these strings were still a little high, so I used files to get in there to get the string height nice and low, right where I wanted it. This is not going to be a slide guitar for me. This is going to be for fretted picking. Additional assembly details were the tailpiece here. I had to bend myself, and I trimmed it. Now, this wasn't a Gitty tailpiece. Somebody had sent me this. One of my fans was hand cutting his own tailpieces for a while, and years ago sent me one of these, and I had it in my drawer, so I figured I'd use it. And so I had to bend it and cut the bottom with my Dremel to trim it up. Then I strung the whole thing up. Right now, my biggest concern is getting proper intonation. And I have had to, let me get a close up here. I have had to turn this bridge a little bit like this to get proper intonation, to get that high string to ring out correctly. But that's pretty much it. I use little tuner screws to secure the box to the neck, and it's glued in as well. I will eventually close the box for good, and I may have a little hole in the back in case I ever need to get to the wire. But I'll want to close this box and glue it up or use some other system other than the original clasp. So there we go. There's the Reso-Electro project. I hope you were inspired by it. Hope you got some new building ideas. And stay tuned to cbgitty.com/news for more blogs coming up from yours truly on other guitars I've built, including the Gitty Bucker guitar. We're going to be talking about the new Gitty Bucker pickups that are about to be released and the cool guitar that I made to go with it. So a lot more coming your way. My name is Shane Spiel. You can learn more about me at shanespiel.com. Thanks for watching.